Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and I saw Leo and it was actually pretty good. Now I was pretty interested in this movie. I'm a casual fan of Adam Sandler. Yeah, most of his movies aren't that great, but for the ones that are really good, and I was curious to see him doing another animated film, as I love the Hotel Transylvania franchise, and seeing what he could do with another animated movie. And the trailers all looked pretty interesting. The premise was actually pretty solid, and like I said, it really caught my attention. I was pretty interested in seeing this. And while it's not a great movie per se, I still found this to be a pretty solid kids movie. I had a good time with this. First off, the story here I think is really well done. I honestly think the premise for this movie is similar to what you would expect out of a Pixar movie. Basically, there's this lizard who realizes that his days might be numbered as he's 74, and his species of lizard is expected to only live up to 75. So he tries to make the most out of his time by becoming the class pet that the kids have to take care of, and gives the kids helpful learning advice. And that's a great premise on its own, and I think the movie really does a good job with that. There are multiple moments where you see the positive effect Leo has on the kids, and it can lead to some very sweet, very touching moments, as well as some hilarious laugh out loud moments. And I think the movie definitely made the most out of its premise. It's very simple yet very effective. It didn't go too over the top, and it didn't feel a bit watered down. In my opinion, they did a good job with the story. I was pretty invested throughout the most of the movie. And going back to the comedy, I found this movie to be hilarious. I was laughing out loud and consistently pretty much throughout the majority of the movie. There are its share of bad jokes, and believe me, we will get to that much later in the video. But as a whole, I found this movie to be really funny, just from the ways, like how Leo and his turtle friend Squirtle play off of one another, to just how surreal and odd this movie gets. There's some really weird out there jokes that completely caught me off guard and just really made me laugh out loud, and also a good amount of adult jokes in here that once again caught me off guard but never felt out of place or too forced in here to get the adults laughing. It all felt very natural and within the world. I was just laughing a lot of these jokes were just really funny to me. I also really liked the characters in this movie. They're not the most groundbreaking characters in the world, but they're still likable and charming enough to make you care about what they're going through in the movie. You have the title character Leo, and I think Adam Sandler did a really great job with the character. I think one thing that's going to make it or break it for people with this character is the voice Adam Sandler is doing. It's one of his more goofier voices, and I can see it being a bit irritating and obnoxious for some people. But as for me, I didn't mind the voice. He hammed it up just the right amount and still did a great job voice acting the character. It definitely doesn't sound like Adam Sandler's regular voice, and even for the somber moments, he really does a good job with the voice acting. And as for his character, I found him to be really funny, and I liked his character arc. I also liked his friend Squirtle the Turtle, played by Bill Burr. They surprisingly play off of each other very well and have very solid chemistry, and it leads to some of the funniest jokes in the movie. The kids are the typical archetypes you would see in this movie, the one that talks too much, the popular one, the bully, but the film does a good job making you care for these characters and their struggles, and it really is very heartwarming to see Leo leave a big impact on these kids. Another character that really surprised me was the substitute teacher, played by Cecily Strong. I thought she was just going to be the typical bad guy, but no, they actually do a lot more with her character and give her a solid character arc that I wasn't expecting them to, and they do a lot with her that honestly really benefited the movie in some ways. I actually really like what they did with her. The movie also offers a sweet message about the importance of teaching kids life lessons and the value that teachers have on kids' life. And I thought this was really well done. It's certainly an important message to teach to kids, and I felt the movie executed it very well with how Leo left a big impact on the kid's life and how the other teachers leave strong impacts on the kids in the movie. And I felt like they handled it very well. It never felt forced upon you. They didn't hammer it down to the point of exhaustion. They actually did a pretty good job with it. And as for the animation, while it does have some issues, and I'll get to those later, I think for the most part it looks really nice. It's colorful, the movements are really well done. Sometimes they do some cool stuff during some of the musical numbers with the animation. And I really liked some of the designs of the characters, especially the kindergarten kids. They looked so weird and strange, but that was the joke, and it made it really funny. And I think the designs of the animals, for the most part, look really solid. Some of the textures look a bit weird, but other than that, I think they did a good job. Unfortunately, I do have a couple issues holding this back from being a pretty outstanding animated movie. First off, this did not need to be a musical, like, at all. The songs in here are really, really bad. There are maybe two that I think are passable, like the lullaby he sings to the one girl about not crying, and the other one where Leo tells the other kid that she's not that great. I thought those were okay. They had their funny moments, but the songs really dragged the movie down. They were really forced and unnecessary, not really well written, and this movie just did not need to be a musical. There's so many of them that it goes to the point to where anytime another song pops up, you're just like, oh god, they're singing again. In typical Happy Madison, Adam Sandler territory, there's a lot of bad juvenile jokes, some poop jokes, pee jokes, and fart jokes that just really don't stick the landing. These are for the young children, I guess, and I guess the die-hard Sandler fans. But when the movie is as funny as it is, it really does hurt to see the lowest common denominator, typical Sandler humor, bog it down. And as for the animation, it does have issues. Like I said, some of the textures on some of the animals look a bit off, and the designs for some of the humans just look weird. It looks like they were trying to combine the typical Pixar designs for the humans and the more exaggerated Hotel Transylvania cartoonish designs for those humans, and try to find the right balance between them, and it just looks really weird, and it even at times uncanny valley like. They really didn't strike the balance as well as I think they should have to make these characters look a bit more appealing. But even with those flaws, I still had a really good time with Leo. The story was great, it's very, very funny, the characters are likable, it has a great message, and the animation for the most part I thought was very solid. I wouldn't say this is something you would need to rush out to see at the theater. I think, thankfully, since this is a Netflix movie, this is more suited to watch at home with the kids for the holidays, or if you just want to watch something silly with them. If this was a theatrical release, I would say this isn't a must watch, but it could be something you just watch occasionally with them, maybe at home. And thankfully, like I said, this is already on Netflix, so you can already watch this at home. I'd say give it a watch. Certainly one of Sandler's better movies. I really liked it. And those are my thoughts on Leo. What did you all think of it? If you've seen it, did you like it? Did you hate it? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links at the end of the video. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.